Let's get started. As you can see, in the written feedback report, I have discussed your grammar and vocabulary mistakes. For example, you have made 2 mistakes here. First, you should use the plural form of a noun without the definite article when you're referring to things in general. Second, you've used the wrong structure in your comparison. Or here, you have used an indefinite article with an uncountable noun. So read the written feedback carefully and work on all the mistakes I've pointed out. In this video, I'm going to ignore those and focus on task response, cohesion, and coherence. Let's start with your introduction paragraph with 99 words. It's a bit too long for an introduction for IELTS Task 2. It could be more concise. IELTS wants your writing to be concise. It means you should try to deliver as much information as possible without using unnecessary words or phrases. It doesn't mean that you should only use shorter sentences. You still need to use compound, complex, and compound complex sentences to develop your ideas. But if you are aiming for higher band scores, you should do so without unnecessary words, phrases, or even sentences. In this video, I'm going to show you how it works. I will also show you how you can improve your essay to a higher band score. So, let's go through your essay and see how we can improve it. First of all, you can delete this phrase. There is no good reason to put it here. When you use simple present tense like it is hard to imagine any tasks that do not use computers, you're referring to today's day and age. Okay? It is very hard to imagine any tasks that do not use computers in some way or form. Okay, some way or form. Some way or some form basically refer to the same thing. So why repeat the same idea? Go with one of them. Or you can delete this part as well and you'll see the sentence delivers the same message. Okay, they have definitely at least touched, if not become, an important part of almost every profession but education. Okay, this sentence is complicated and difficult to understand, which has a negative effect on your coherence score. You should have gone with one that's clear and easy to understand. So instead of these 2 sentences, you could go with something like this. Computers have been recognized as the most successful and life-changing invention of the millennium. Instead of writing 2 sentences for the first sentence of the task, you could go with this one. Also, I didn't mention the word profession because education is the focus of the question, not other professions. Be careful not to go off task. Spend 1 or 2 minutes to fully understand what the task wants from you. Okay, let's move on. Some people are keen on introducing this device in classrooms. Okay, this device, what does this refer to? Computers, but computers is a plural noun here, and this refers to a singular noun. Inappropriate referencing, which will lower your cohesion score. Instead, you could have used such devices. Okay. Because of its benefits. Okay, its benefits. Again, the same problem here with its. You should have gone with their benefits. While others believe that they pose more threats than benefits to students. Okay, this essay will look at both views and explain why I think that a combination of digital teaching methods and age-old whiteboard and marker teaching will be the best approach. I suggest that you not use structures like this essay will, in this essay I will, because first, they are not high-level structures, and second, they won't add anything to your writing. Here's what I suggest. Therefore, some people are keen on introducing such devices in classrooms, while others argue that they pose more threats than benefits to students. I, however, believe that using educational technology along with traditional teaching methods is the best approach. This new introduction has 54 words. It's more concise and clearer. I changed your wording in your thesis statement to make it clearer and avoid repeating the word teaching. Your introduction now is smoother, which leads to a higher band score. So let's take a look at your first body paragraph. Many people believe that computers can revolutionize the way we read subjects. We study some subjects, which require three-dimensional visualization. It can create multidimensional pictures. Okay, again, the pronoun it refers to the main subject being discussed. Here, it refers back to computers, which is plural. Again, referencing mistake. Of complex structures like the human body and present them to students in a manner that they can easily see, understand, and memorize. It is also a good idea to add a linking word or phrase here to make the connection between these two sentences clear. Is the second sentence an example, clarification, or something else? In this case, I think you could go with in other words to make it clear, to make your main idea clearer. Okay, moving on. For instance, it is very crucial for a surgeon to remember the structures surrounding pancreas, and a computer can provide this picture in the simplest and most precise manner, which can be then used by the said surgeon to understand and memorize the anatomy. Hence, using these modern ways of teaching can prove to be very useful for some subjects, if not all. Okay, this example could be better. Here's my suggestion. For instance, in medical education, students who do not have unlimited access to fresh organs, such as pancreas, to learn about the human anatomy can create digital replicas of the organs by computer imaging and then use them whenever they study. I should explain you that I replaced surgeon with medical students. Do you know why? Surgeon is not a good example here because we are discussing education, students, schools, and teachers. A surgeon is none of them. It's a profession. So it's off topic. So I went for medical students. Since I have already mentioned medical education, to avoid repetition, I just used students. I also used more precise vocabulary instead of your phrases. For example, I used replica instead of pictures in the simplest and most precise manner. I also changed your paragraph conclusion because it was repetitive. The conclusion should refer back to the main idea and add something to it so that you reach some sort of conclusion at the end of the discussion. So here is what I came up with. Hence, these modern ways facilitate learning and help students become more competent in their fields. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at your second body paragraph, which should be about the second side. Your second body paragraph discusses the shortcomings of computers in classrooms, not the risks they bring about to them. Unfortunately, this has a negative effect on your task response. Here's an example of what you should have gone for. On the other hand, others argue that too much use of computers in education has two main disadvantages. First, being too dependent on technology means that students would spend long hours sitting and looking at computer screens, which makes them prone to many health-related problems such as eye disorders and obesity. And the rest of the paragraph. Okay, do you see where I'm going? Now, based on your introduction, you need to have a third body paragraph. Do you know why? Because your opinion is different from the two sides. And since each body paragraph should have only one main idea, you need to present it in a paragraph of its own. However, if you had agreed with one of the sides, you could have put your opinion in the paragraph that discusses the side you agree with, which means only two body paragraphs. Unfortunately, you have failed to discuss your opinion in this essay. Writing it only in introduction and conclusion is not enough. You need to develop it. You need a paragraph. Finally, your conclusion. Always start your conclusion in a way that makes it clear it is your conclusion. Use phrases like in conclusion or to conclude for this purpose. Also, as I mentioned before, try not to use phrases like this essay discussed. Go for better high-level structures. By the way, you shouldn't introduce anything that hasn't been discussed in the body paragraphs. Let's assume that you had written a paragraph discussing your opinion. Here's what your conclusion could have looked like. In conclusion, although there are some merits and demerits to using computers in classroom setting, I firmly believe that educators should take advantage of them while preserving the already established methods. I hope you work on these points and improve your score.